Alright, boy do I have something good for you guys today. So, this video is a little old, but I'd like to point out that this was made by a Nintendo fanboy. That's right, this guy decided he would just, talk absolute shit without any actual criticism. So today I'm going to make fun of him. I hope you all enjoy. So, without further ado, grab some snacks and whatever, popcorn, whatever suits you, and we'll begin.
Reception to my Elden Ring videos upon studying other YouTubers talking about the game, upon looking into it a little bit, I now know why this game is so worshipped among the gaming community. I know why everybody obsessively calls this one of the best games of the generation and one of the best games ever made, and are desperately trying to fool you into thinking this is like some major deal, some major phenomenon, one of the big gaming successes ever.
Harman, what exactly is a desperate fool, like a desperate fool attempt here? I don't understand. Everyone on the internet praises Elden Ring because of how good it is. Like, you just said that yourself. You just said why everyone appreciates it so much. And now you're saying that people are being fooled into believing that it's extremely good? People are being fooled into thinking that From Software is one of the best gaming corporations? What?
Like, FromSoft, one of the biggest game studios in the industry right now, even though none of that is true.
What do you mean it's not true? Just because From Software isn't as large as your big fucking Nintendo, but just because they're not as large as other corporations, doesn't mean that they don't have a huge impact on the internet. Or the world, for that matter.
When you talk about Elden Ring, people watch your content. That's all it is. FromSoft has very strong online appeal, which is not the same as mainstream appeal.
Actually, with the release of Elden Ring, From Software is considered to be widely mainstream. Bro, just look it up. Do any modicum of research and you'll understand that From Software is, like, really huge because of Elden Ring. I mean, the fact is that Elden Ring won Game of the Year 2022. Do you know how many games were on that list that were actually, like, pretty good, and then Elden Ring just, like, flew over them? This was the best game of that year. There's no doubt, there's no bullshit. It's straight up what it is.
It has these dedicated fanboys that will just make up, like, complete fan fiction, like, ridiculous lore, and then they'll just watch it, like, endlessly and speculate on the plot of a game that really fundamentally does not have a plot.
You're sitting here acting like you know anything about the plot of Elden Ring when you have not played the game. You don't know anything about the lore. Please play the game. Please do some research. This is like the 50th video that you've probably made about Elden Ring and shitting on it when you have yet to do any research about the game, play the game, do any sort of understanding where everyone else comes from with how good the game is. It's like you have no idea what an objectively good game is.
The reason so many YouTubers are so adamant about defending Elden Ring is to preserve this community, this mindset, and this viewer retention.
No. The reason that YouTubers are defending Elden Ring from videos like yours is because your videos outright attack the game, basically. When you have not played it, you continuously drag on about how bad it is when you've not played it. You do everything in your power to make it seem like it's really extremely horrible when everyone else on Earth has the opposite opinion of you, which probably means that you're delusional.
It reminds me a lot of how Undertale was treated back in the day, where you had this very basic, very uninspired, derivative, plagiarized IP. It stole a lot of assets from other indie games, or a lot of ideas from other indie games. Songs were ripped from a lot of obscure 90s JRPGs.
Okay, so I was just spending some time looking up if Undertale has any music that's actually plagiarized. You know what? For one, what the fuck does Undertale have to do with this discussion? I don't personally get how Undertale and Elden Ring coincide. I don't understand how this reminds you of Undertale plagiarism when Elden Ring clearly is not plagiarized. Even if Undertale was plagiarized, how the fuck does that tie to Elden Ring? How does it make you think of Undertale? How did you get to this? But secondly, as I said, I was looking for stuff and I've found basically nothing that confirms that Undertale's music or anything in the game was plagiarized. I don't know where he's pulling this out of his ass from.
Undertale was this thing that was just had a similar reception.
The fuck do you mean Undertale had a similar reception to Elden Ring? What kind of world are you living in? Like, of course Undertale is a very popular game, but I feel like their receptions are very different.
But now that it's like fallen by the wayside, now that like nobody remembers Toby Fox or the game or the sequel, and that like
everybody knows Toby Fox. Everybody remembers Toby Fox. There's no one has forgotten about Undertale. Literally no one. Stop spinning this narrative.
The audience were people that were primarily interested in the online content. Like, they weren't interested in the game, they weren't interested in games in general, they were interested in the streamers, the music artists, the people that would show Undertale as the greatest thing ever. Like, they weren't interested in Undertale as a game. I am observing similar behaviors in Elden Ring fans.
Okay, so for one thing, I don't see how you're observing similar things in Elden Ring fans, because to be honest with you, you could say this about any game fandom or any community, because the reality is that YouTube as a whole is a place where you can play games and put them on the internet for other people to see. People who might not have those games, people who might enjoy watching someone else play them instead of them playing it. It's supposed to be entertainment at the end of the day. It doesn't mean that people aren't interested in the actual game. What that means is that they are interested in the game, but they just haven't decided to play it themselves.
They're making videos like, you know, attacking DSP.
Can't hit him. I can't hit him! The game is preposterously stupid. This is so stupid. 90% whiff through his body.
Honestly, this is a big fucking skill issue. I mean, look at his death counter, 465. This guy has been fighting the same boss without doing anything for multiple fucking hours, when he could have just moved down somewhere else. I'm sorry, Harman, but if you think that Darkside Phil is a credible source for any of your bullshit, then you are sorely mistaken.
Here, QuantumTV.
Just wanted to let you know that this is the guy you're talking about.
Essentially, I don't buy this game.
And the Game Award goes to Elden Ring. Congratulations to From and Bandai Namco.
So I would say this game is for somebody who really is looking for a sandbox. They have no family, no friends, no life.
And the Game Award for Best Game Direction goes to Elden Ring.
Yeah, QuantumTV is not a credible source. Bro, just shut the fuck up. The Ackman already made like several videos about this one douchebag. I think that says enough.
You know, me, right, for like, you know, daring to say that, like, you know, this game really isn't very good, right? The visual quality is trash.
The visual quality is not trash.
The graphics are dog shit.
Are you sure about that?
The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit.
What a fucking joke.
Right? It's glitchy. It's broken. Right? It's convoluted and confusing and not all that fun to play. Like, these are real serious issues that the audience desperately likes to pretend are not issues.
We don't pretend they aren't issues. They generally aren't issues. Most people don't have a problem with the gameplay of Elden Ring because they're a gamer and they know how to adapt to the game's, you know, different gameplay style. If you are a gamer and you tell me that you only like a certain type of gameplay, then that's completely fine. But what you have to understand is that doesn't mean that the gameplay is trash. That doesn't mean it is shit just because you think so. The general audience opinion of Elden Ring is that it's a very fun and really good game. Something people like QuantumTV, DSP, Under the Mayo, and you apparently will never understand because you guys criticize Elden Ring with absolutely no actual width of thought. You say so much shit about Elden Ring, but you never once actually give it a fair shot.
They like to pretend as if the player is at fault for all of his mistakes and for everything that happens in the game, but that's observably not true.
Because the player is at fault if they are like really bad at a video game. Like what are you saying? How can the game be at fault for you being dog shit? How does that make sense? You realize that video games have a modicum of skill in them, right? You realize that skill levels do exist, right? Otherwise, things like video game esports wouldn't exist.
Because I've played games that are harder than this, but are also easier to understand. I've played games that have better boss designs and better combat mechanics and better level design, better mechanics, right? You know, Tears of the Kingdom is just one example.
Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring are effectively different in so many ways. I don't know why you're comparing Tears of the Kingdom, which is a Nintendo game, and it is The Legend of Zelda. It is primarily puzzle-based and not actually combat-based. You know this, right? Like, you played Legend of Zelda, clearly. How are you comparing that to Elden Ring, which is a primarily, gameplay-based game where skill gaps and stuff exist? No offense, but The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is one of the easiest fucking games I've ever played in my entire life. And Elden Ring is not as hard as Dark Souls. Like, genuinely, Elden Ring is the easiest Souls game that in existence in terms of FromSoft's Souls games. And that's just because of all the things you can do to make the game easier on yourself. You seriously can't be painting Tears of the Kingdom as a hard game. If that's what you think a hard game is, then you are so delusional. I don't know where to place you on the scale.
Like, everyone's always telling me, like, oh, like, if you put 100 hours into the game and you find all the areas, you'll see the good content. Like,
no one is saying that you should put over 100 hours into a game to see the good content. Actually, if anyone is saying that, then they're fucking stupid. What kind of game would you put over 100 hours into only to not have fun for the 100 hours that you put in? That's like Starfield % there. That's like 12 hours in is when it gets good. Stop painting this dumbass fucking narrative that Elden Ring is a really bad game. It takes 100 hours in the game to get good? Bro, who the fuck are you kidding besides yourself?
There is no good content.
You're saying there's no good content in Elden Ring, but that's just your opinion. Your opinion is so bad because you haven't fully played the game. You have not seen that content. You don't know about any of that. You haven't directly taken the time for any of that. Instead, you're here complaining about how bad Elden Ring is, but you won't even give it a fair shot. You won't even play the game, which you're talking about like you've actually played. And if you have played it, I don't think you've been past Limgrave. You cannot convince me that you've been past Limgrave. People are going to disagree with you because your opinion is unfair. It's not about there being an actual problem or anything, or people like genuinely trying to attack you, but people will criticize you for that terrible, awful, misguided opinion. And if you can't understand why people criticize you for that, then that's your problem.
Okay, like, I've explored quite a bit of the map. I didn't find anything interesting or fun or exciting. I didn't find any good boss fights.
So you haven't played this game? Like, you keep saying that you've played it, but there's like no actual proof of that point. You're not showing any gameplay of Elden Ring right here. You're not giving any actual proof that you've played this game. You know what? I'm done. See ya.